What's going on, agents? It's WQHD back with another Division 2 video, and I hope you are all having an excellent weekend and of course staying safe out there. Now, I know I'm a little late with this one, but the Tu11 PTS Phase 2 patch notes dropped yesterday. And since I normally upload reviews on the changes, I wanted to go ahead and review through the changes for you today and give you my general impressions of each. But before we begin, please take just a second to smash that sub button for intensive Division content, and don't forget to ring the bell to never miss another upload notification from my YouTube channel. Okay, let's get this one started. Okay, as always, I review through the patch notes live. I'm going to skip the intro up here at the top, but if you look down here, it says Wave 2 focuses on improvements to the Summit and PvP balance changes. As always, feedback is appreciated in all areas, but in particular, the following areas are testing focuses: the Summit, PvE game mode, PvP balance, and loot quality, i.e. addressing the rainbow loot. So all of that was needed. So let's jump down in here to the Summit. Now, I've avoided putting up or publishing too much of this gameplay because I'm trying to keep it fresh for those of you out there on console. Unfortunately, the PTS is only on PC, but I know there's plenty of spoilers out there, etc., etc. But I'll talk through a little bit of this and try and keep my comments centered into what these changes are, and try and stay away from, too much of the spoilers. But it says added greater variety and diversity in objective types as you progress through the Summit. This was badly needed. I commented on this in one of my videos. This is the first bullet point up here. It was just too boring. There was just 4, 5, or 6 different activities that you did for 100 floors. So you can see it became very repetitive. Changed the hostage revive timer to be longer, giving more leeway to reach them before the objective fails. This is one of those objective types. You bust into a room, there's a hostage running around just absolutely insanely, and they were getting down very quickly because they were running right through bullet streams, and then you would fail the objective. So I'm glad to see that. Increase the radius of the hack zone for EMP objectives. If you remember, one of the manhunt targets had that incredible EMP projector that if you got too close to it would just absolutely bust you to pieces. That was on one of the manhunts, I believe, on Roosevelt Island. Well, that is one of the objective types now, but the zones, because you have to stay out of the line of sight, the zones were difficult to figure out exactly where you could get in behind cover, get into that zone to hack the EMP, so therefore it would open up and you could destroy it. So I'm glad to see that as well. Increase the amount of loot caches scattered around the building, which contents scale with difficulty. Yeah, I can understand that. Once again, this is going to cause issues because as you accumulate the keys, you're not going to want to open these boxes on normal, hard, or challenge, or maybe not even heroic difficulty, because you want to save these keys until you get to the absolute best loot, which is on floors like 81 and up. I'd like to see that scale in a different way. To promote using your keys on lower floors. I'd have to think through that one. I'm just kind of doing this off the cuff, but I'm definitely not going to use my keys until I hit around floor 81. Final one down here: reduce the number of directives on legendary floors 91 through 100. Now has 3 random directives, previously had 4. Once again, I have issues with forced directives. I don't think this is a way to promote greater variety. All it does is it lazily increases difficulty when you are, and I've had issues with these directives as well, because the directives only force negative attributes onto our abilities, etc. Less ammo, but no positive ability, no health regen, but no positive ability. We had positive attributes and negative attributes with every directive in Underground in the original Division game, but we don't have it in this game. So I don't like random directives. Forced directives. I like the fact that there's 3 random and they've reduced it a little bit. I can tell after playing the PTS yesterday on Phase 2 that the overall content of the NPC spawn types and group types, it's more diverse now. There's more of them. Before, it was just a bunch of red bar rushers, like the White Tusk. Now there are veteran and elites mixed in there. There are way more heavies with the Hive backpacks. So the content has greatly increased in difficulty, but I still don't like directives being forced on there. I'd like to see some incentive for that. Like if you want to play floors, 81 through 100, which are legendary. On, one directive, you have that option, but, loot quality is here. But if with 2 directives, it's a little bit better. With 3 directives, etc., etc. That's what I'd like to see with directives. All right, let's go down to gameplay changes, gear mods. This is big. This is kind of flying under the radar, especially this last sentence, but I'll go ahead and read this. Reverted the increase to status effect resistance mod values from 20% back down to 10%. So on the PTS, you were finding like explosive resistance mods at 20%. So you stacked a couple of those on there. You picked up a lot of a status effect resistance for very little investment. They reverted them back down to what they were at a max of 10%. Developer comment: after reviewing feedback and considering how the new generic gear mod slot system will impact the meta, we've decided to revert the changes to status effect resistance mods. The increase in flexibility towards achieving specific status effect immunity through generic gear mod slots will remain a net increase in player defense. So in case you don't know what they're saying, we now have I guess they're homogeneous mods or whatever they're calling them. I forgot the name right now. Sorry, I'm kind of just off the cuff doing this. But now you can slot in any mod to any gear mod slot. I see what they're saying there. Once again, if you are going for like an all red build, you're staying with all red mods. Of course, the resistance mods weren't all red mods, but for those of you going for those ultimate tank builds and adding on 20% instead of 10%, there was 3 mods you could add on. So at one point you were picking up 60%, you're back down to 30%. So I can see where that would affect you. Now this last sentence down here is interesting. You need to pay attention to this one because it's just kind of in there, but maybe you don't understand the power of that sentence. All improvised crafted high-end gear now have generic mod slots, including gloves and knee pads. So I want you to think about that. In your base of operations, when you go to your crafting bench, you can craft improvised gear. It just kind of randomly comes up with a talent. It's not actually in a brand set, so you don't get like the 1, 2, or 3 piece bonuses. But one of those sneaky, unspoken of items about crafted gear, especially in like the holster, is that it came with a mod slot, so you could stack on like more skill haste or possibly more resistance mods or something like that. So now they've added it on for gloves and knee pads. That means that if you craft improvised gear, and you can kind of, it's going to take a while, don't get me wrong, but if you can improvise, and craft this improvised gear, you can have 6 pieces of gear on your agent, all with a mod slot. Now that only works on generic mods. So that could be really interesting. You could come up with an all improvised build. You of course have a talent on your body armor and your backpack, and then you could have 6 mod slots. That could be really interesting. Don't sleep on that one. I'd start messing around with it when you get a chance. Like on some of my status effect builds, I actually run an improvised holster, so I have that, because holsters don't have talents, so I have that extra mod slot. And that could really do some interesting things, especially to skill builds. That would be interesting. Down here, named items, death grips, of course, increase the armor on kill from 5 to 10%. So you picked up 100%. That's kind of nice. And the mop increased the armor on kill from 5% to 10%. So both of those got a huge boost, doubling of their armor on kill percentages. Exotics, I kind of saw this one happening. The Memento, that's the new backpack on the PTS, lowered the bonus armor gained on trophy pickup from 20% to 10% per armor core, but the bonus armor gained now stacks. So what these, how this Memento backpack works is it has 3 core attributes. It doesn't have any secondary attributes. And one of the things that this backpack does is as you kill targets, trophies drop onto the ground. You run around and pick them up, kind of like you would like specialty ammo, and then all of a sudden it applies buffs to your character. One of those was, I guess, bonus armor. So you could really stack up some huge armor on this thing if you could get the killing blow, run over and pick up the trophies. So I can see what they did there. They dropped the initial stacking of it from 20% to 10%, but the bonus armor gained now stacks. I fully understand this one. Down here, gear sets. I actually tweeted the Division game. I haven't heard back from them at the time of this video. One of these things is not reading properly. But anyway, Eclipse Protocol. Excellent gear set, especially for crowd control. They lowered indirect transmission on kill status effect spreads from 15 meters to 10 meters. I believe that's on the backpack. So they took off 5 meters there. And then down here it says proliferation now increases the range of indirect transmission from 10 meters to 15 meters. And it's actually, if I'm not mistaken, and I need to look back on my screenshot, I think it's 15 meters to 20 meters is the way it reads right now on the body armor. So I believe that's incorrect. I have not heard back from them. So what they've done is they reduced it a little bit on the backpack and forced you to use the body armor with it, in the hopes that you pick up the same range. But if you look down here, this is the interesting one right here. This is huge. Increased symptom aggravator damage amplification from 15% to 30%. Now let that sink in. That is amp damage. That is multiplicative damage. And remember, system aggravator works that as long as, you know, once you kill a target, that those status effects spread to other targets. So if you're running around with like, I run around with Eclipse Protocol now with a explosive sticky bomb and the Riot Foam Chem Launcher, I believe. So anyway, if you want to run around with damage skills, or excuse me, not damage skills, even if you just apply the status effects to other targets around there, the amp damage has now been doubled. That is huge. Don't sleep on that one. That is huge. Amp damage, remember, is multiplicative damage. That's better than, of course, additive damage, but 15 to 30% is a big jump. Big jump. I'm pleased to see that because I love my Eclipse Protocol CC build. Down here, talents, only one talent listed, but this is a big change here. Obliterate, that's on your body armor, increases the number of maximum stacks of total weapon damage from 15 to 25. So if you know how Obliterate works, Obliterate, as you start adding on stacks to targets, increases your weapon damage. This works great with high crit builds, especially automatic weaponry like an LMG, like the Bullet King or something like that. Anyway, it would add on, previously you could hit your max weapon damage stack of 15. That was adding 15% weapon damage to your output. And now it's been boosted up, almost doubled to 25%. This is not amp damage. This is additive damage, but still, a doubling of that has really done quite a bit for Obliterate. I run around with an Obliterate body armor with max weapon, max crit chance, max crit damage with a max crit damage mod on it. So for me, this is, and I run it on the raids, this is a huge change from me. I love to see this. All right, let's jump down into the PvP changes. Here we go, PvP down here. They reduced the global PvP damage modifier from 0.35% to 0.3%. So they're giving you a little more damage for PvP. Reverted previous changes to the pistol, rifle, and MMR PvP damage modifiers to pre-10.1 values. That's a buff for all three of those. So if you remember, after 10.1, the pistol, the rifle, and the MMRs were reduced to the point that even if you went like with a full red build, headshot damage, everything, like with a Nemesis or something like that, there was many times that even if your aim was on point and you headshotted somebody in the dark zone, you could still not one-shot them, and it was like, what? So it's good to see that they've boosted that up. I'd like to see the changes, maybe on a graph or something like that. When they say just reverted, tell us how much they picked up. That would be very helpful. Small increase to shotgun PvP damage modifier to match global damage reduction and retain pre-Tu11 TTK, that's time to kill. Slight reduction to overall SMG PvP damage. I kind of expected this last one, especially with how many people are running around in the DZs right now with the Lady Death, which I think is addressed down here. So here's the developer comment. The above changes should result in a small increase to TTK at medium and close range while keeping rifles and MMRs deadly at long ranges. I'd be interested to hear, for those of you that are running around into the DZ on the PTS, how has it changed? I don't go in the DZ anymore, especially with the wild hacker issues, and plus I don't find it very interesting. It's very unpopulated. But anyway, I'd like to hear maybe some of you that are on PC, on the PTS, in Phase 2, that go into the DZ, comment on what you feel about that. Here's the big changes though for PvP, and there's some huge ones down here. Crusader, Reflector, and Striker shields now take 33% more damage in PvP. Those are the assault shields. Notice that the Bulwark is not in there. So anything that allows you to use like a shotgun or the Lady Death or something like that, it is now 33% less resilient in PvP. That's a big change. I remember when I used to PvP with the ballistic shield in Div 1, and when I used to see changes like that, even a 25% change, I think at one point we got, was huge. Like, I would lose my shield, even with millions of resiliency points, I would lose it so much more quickly in PvP. So for those of you running around with shields, I can't say that you shouldn't have expected it, because they were being abused a bit, especially with Lady Death, but there it is. Riot Foam, Chem Launcher, Base and Snare duration lowered from 3 to 2 seconds in PvP, so you lost 33% there. Firewall Specialization Talent, Fiery Response no longer applies a 5-meter burn on armor break in PvP. For those of you running around with the Firewall spec, remember the Fiery Response is if your armor broke, then you would like burst out these flames and catch everything within 5 meters on fire. That's gone now in PvP. People were doing that intentionally. They would lose their armor and then catch things on fire. Eclipse Protocol's indirect transmission on kill status effect spread lowered from 15 meters to 5 meters in PvP. So you lost 66%, 7 meters with proliferation chest talent. That is big. Lady Death's breathe-free weapon damage amplification effect lowered from 75 to 50% in PvP, so 33% gone. Headhunter, listen to this one, Headhunter buff duration lowered from 30 seconds to 5 seconds in PvP. Wow. Headhunter damage bonus lowered from 40% to 20% in PvP, 25% with perfect Headhunter. So Headhunter got crushed in phase 2 of this PTS. It got crushed. So shields got hurt pretty badly. Eclipse Protocol lost a lot. We kind of expected that one coming, though. Lady Death lost 33% of the specialty talent damage amplification in PvP. That's huge. And Headhunter got crushed. So wow, a lot of things going on as far as PvP in there. For those of you running around with shields and Lady Death or like Headhunter or something like that, you are going to need to rejig your builds. Down here, bug fixes. These are kind of interesting. I don't normally cover these, but there's just a few of them. Fixed an issue which allowed players to finish the 100th floor and summit without actually killing the enemies. Well, there's certainly a lot of issues with that, which are noted. Fixed an issue causing one type of enemy to spawn in the summit on legendary difficulty. We talked about that. That was the White Tusk assaults, which were red bars, which were pretty easily downed. Fixed an issue causing enemies to shoot through walls on the 100th floor in the summit. That's a big issue. Fix an issue that caused you to be matched with the summit group when matchmaking for main missions. That's a huge issue. This next one, I actually tweeted about this. Fix an issue causing the Shade Crate disappear briefly after completing the Hold Shade Crate objective in the summit. It didn't actually briefly disappear. Once you captured it, it would completely disappear. It was just a logo floating in the air, and it was a collision warning. You would bump into something, but the crate wasn't there. It would just randomly spit out skills as you took it. One thing I would like to comment on that objective, if anyone from Massive was watching that, and I may post over in the ETF Discord as well, is it's an interesting objective. Hold the Shade Crate, where you got to get into the zone, you got to kill the enemies, you got to take it, because at first it's spitting out enemy skills like drones and turrets and etc. And then once you take it, it starts spitting out friendly skills that are supposed to aid you. But the aim for this Shade Crate is really awful. So quite often when you take it, it'll spit out like a sniper turret, but when it shoots it out, it'll put it directly behind an object. So therefore the sniper turret cannot lock onto anything. It's absolutely useless. The only times that I really have enjoyed that is when it's seems to randomly spit out drones or something, because those things lock on and go after targets, but it quite frequently shoots out turrets that land in a really randomized pattern, and they almost always seem to land right behind cover. So the NPC has to go directly behind the cover for it to actually be effective. So I'd like to see that maybe adjusted. Maybe it shoots them out on top of things. You know, just make it more interesting. Like taking the Shade Crate objective is actually a good thing. Fixed or otherwise, what is going to happen is people are just going to kill all the NPCs out of the room. That's what we've been doing, and then just run over and take the Shade Crate right at the end, because the skills are virtually worthless, and that kind of takes that whole objective off the map, you know what I mean? Fixed missing specialization tutorial when boosting a new character to level 30, okay. And fixed an issue which caused all trap variants to become stuck in the ceiling. This would be a big issue. So a lot of changes in the PTS Phase 2 patch notes. We talked about the Summit. They did change up like the content of the NPC hordes. There's a lot more than just red bar assaults running around on the Legendary. I talked about random directives. I don't really like these. I like to see incentives for adding these on. Gear mods, don't sleep on improvised crafted high-end gear. You can have 6 mod slots. That's incredible. Named items, Memento, we knew that one was coming. I'm not quite sure. Maybe I'll add a comment into the comment section after this video post if I get an answer back from the Division game. But right here, this one reads incorrectly. Proliferation now increases the range of indirect transmission from 10 to 15 meters. Right now on the live game, it's 15 to 20 meters. So I don't know why it says now increases from 10 to 15 meters. I don't know. That one I think is worded incorrectly. Obliterate, big change there. Big changes to PvP, huge changes to the shield. Lady Death, Headhunter got crushed, and then they fixed some bugs. Okay, so that's going to wrap up today's patch notes breakdown. And as always, I encourage you to post your feedback in the comment section below. If you want more of this style of Division content in your lives, please smash that sub button and click on the bell to receive all future upload notifications from my channel. If you liked the video, rate it with a thumbs up, if not, with a thumbs down. If you would like to purchase an Iron Horse Raid PDF t-shirt, look in the video description or just below your viewing window for links to my Teespring merchandise store, with all proceeds from the sale of these shirts going to stackup.org. That's a charity organization designed to help veterans through the culture of gaming. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter for all my latest thoughts on most things gaming related. And until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer signing off.